got my goggles on, my socks are off. Flying through the hallway like a disco moth. Pitching to the couch, then I loop through the fan. My tiny whoops grooving like a funky jam. I dip through the doorway, spin by the cat, bounce off the toaster, yeah, I meant to do that. Neighbors knocking, saying, what's that sound? It's my brush motor soul train getting down. Flying through the curtain, dancing on breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic, bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop it all. I got LED strobes and a shag rug trail. I'm looping through the lava lamp, leaving a tail. My whoops got rhythm, my sticks got soul. I'm the pilot of the party. On a roll, TV remotes a gate, the lamps a dive. I'm flying like it's 7.5. No GPS, no rules, no shame. Just a funky little quad in a soul train frame. We fly that flow, grab that gap. No time to nap. Hit that roll. Funk and control. Bounce that wall. We fly it all. We fly it all. Tiny whoop love, funky and free. We fly indoors, we fly with glee. Whoop it, loop it, groove it, move it, bounce it, flip it, funk it, rip it, fly that soul, don't lose control. Tiny whoop love gonna make you whole. I thread the needle through the vinyl stacks, bounce off the mirror ball, never looking back. My quad's got soul, it's got style, it's got sass. It dips through the incense like a blast from the past. I'm flying figure eights through the lava lamp glow, dodging house plants like a funky pro. My whoops got rhythm, my sticks got heat. I'm the pilot of the party with the grooviest beat. I loop through the hallway, I dive by the broom. I'm the disco ghost in your living room. I hit that split that's over grandma's chair. She just claps and says, boy, you got flair. I'm flying freestyle with a velvet touch. My quad so smooth it don't need a clutch. From the shag rug to the ceiling fan, I'm the funky little fly with a master plan. The curtains dancing on the breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop at all. Can't stop at all. Can't stop at all.
Almost perfect on that little landing. What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Monday Night Q&A. Kevin is somewhere.
Hi.
There he is. Let me make sure. Say hello again, Kevin.
Hello again.
Oh, God, I got that level way down. Okay, let me fix this. And
Juice me,
one more
bro.
time.
Give me up there. Pump my
Okay.
levels. There we go.
All right, there we go. Good to go. All right, so today, hey, we're going to be talking about the Meteor75 Pro O4. Too many M words, too many goddamn numbers, too many in-between prop sizes for any one person to try to remember. I flew this at the patrons. You've got a Patreon post, and I @tagged you over on the Discord with early access to the first of the RC Drift competition edits. I flew this thing there as well, and then I also ripped this around the front yard. And so I've spent a little bit of time with it. We did the build 2 streams ago. And yeah, I have some thoughts. I'm pretty impressed. So we're going to talk about some mods that you'll want to do to it that won't cost you hardly anything. And I'll show you what happened with the tune. And yeah, I'll play through all the flight footage, and you can decide for yourself if you want to go down this heavy 1S 1.8-inch prop route. I'm really I can't believe how good this is for 1S. These 1102 motors are really good, and they really shine on these bigger 1.8-inch props. I think I still do like more KV on the 1.6-inch props, if nothing else than just for variety. Like, you have more propeller variety on these 1.8-inch props. There's only 2 options, and they're both HQ ultralights. If you do a 1.6-inch build with motors that are a higher KV, you can kind of bridge that gap, and then you've got the Gemfan 1610 prop or the HQ ultralight props. These HQ ultralight props are really, really good, as long as you don't fly this thing like exclusively in unrecoverable scenarios. You'll probably be fine with these props, but just understand that these propellers will break at the hub. It's not like an if, it's a when. Other than that, though, my God, these propellers are really, really good, and they wake this thing up. I don't know if they've done something to these 1102s. I've run lots of Beta FPVs 1102s. These ones on this seem like they just make extra power. Or maybe it's just that O4 looks so good that not having the power that I'm used to from like the 2S builds doesn't really matter. But man, this is a good combination of prop size, power to weight ratio, all the things. So yeah, we'll talk about this more in a little bit. In the chat, who was first? RC Thrills RC Thrills 69 was first in the chat.
Already. Got him already.
Natter FPV, Render, Yukon FPV, Jimmy the Cow. I saw Jimmy the Cow over in Joshua's stream, trying to get some info from Joshua about water slide decals. It's like the what was the last thing that we did this with, where it was like an ongoing question, and then it bled out over onto Joshua's stream, and everybody was asking Joshua the question, and he was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And it's just you lunatics making an inside joke and confusing him, because you know that I watch all of his streams. I forget what it was. What the last thing was. Say again. Yeah, it was BattleBots. That's what it was. It was totally BattleBots. Life Behind Bars. Kevin Sumner, of course, is in the chat. He's also here as the voice of God off screen. Render, Robert H6J9G, Fizz, Jimmy the Cow, Whoop Fox. Who else is here? The Bruce, Nyafu, Frank Nicholas, Whoop Fox, Skull 901. I got most of you. You got to get in early if you want the gangliest of ganglies to say your name for free. Or you can just tag me, and I'll read your chat comment and say your damn name. To tag me, you're going to type @CiottiFPV. You have to put the @ in front of it now. YouTube makes things worse every day. And this is the latest in their e-shitifications. Yukon FPV says, "Sick RC drift edit, dude." Thank you, man. That was a pretty quick edit, because I wanted to do one edit for them with full runs. I think I'm going to do an edit with chopping it up a bunch. I probably shouldn't, because there's like 87 other edits that I need to do, but it was fun, and there were people that came from all down the East Coast. And so yeah, I don't know. The problem with doing an edit where I chop in lots of stuff is that the amount of time just absolutely snowballs, and like, you know, the full run edit that I just put up only took me maybe like 4 or 5 hours. If I do another one, it's gonna become 10, 15, 20 hours. So it's kind of nuts, but I don't know. It's fun. They're fun to me, and that's, you know, that's what we're going for here. Nyafu says, how can I repair my 1003 motor screw mount thing? They got stripped during a particularly bad crash, but the motor itself is totally fine. You need to get an itty bitty little tap. I actually have one, so they do exist. It needs to be. You need to buy an M1.4 tap. That's what you need. It's going to be hard to find, but they're out there. M1.4 tap. The motor screws in these things are M1.4, so that's what you need. Jim Flies FPV says hi, and B-Mud Skipper says I have this set up in 2S and it's amazing. 2S is like cheating. Trying to get these to work on 1S. That's the true pain. Life Behind Bar says, I got my 1.5 drill bit today, so smooth installing props now. Made props to you, sir, and your Propodog print looks so clean. What filament are you using? SaneSmart TPU, which is preferred by many. Brain 3D. I'd known about it. People have been saying that SaneSmart TPU is the way to go for a long time. But if you want an example, Brain 3D, who arguably makes the cleanest and best prints in all of FPV, he's been using SaneSmart forever. And so if you want that, if you need that endorsement, there you go. GiddyBot says, wait, I missed a few streams, and that's when all the bot stuff comes up. Now, the battle bots, that's like, we're going like a year back. That was like an inside joke from a year ago.
Brother, it's longer than that.
Is it? Yeah. It's from
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Too Close FPV says, thanks for those 0802s off Etsy. You're certainly welcome. Enjoy them. Destroy them. Howdy Newbie says, what was flight time with the heavy 1S quad? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Give me a minute. CiottiFPV.com is my website where you can go to support me. This is totally crowdfunded. When you guys pay the bills, all the reviews that I do are totally honest because I have no reason to lie. I don't rely on a company to send me lots of stuff. And so, yeah, if something sucks, I'll tell you it sucks. If something's great, I'll tell you it's great. Patreon is the best way to support me. In the middle of a sentence, the man takes a drink. Click the affiliate links. Change your bookmarks to the affiliate links so you don't have to remember to use them every time, because you do have to use them every single time. There's a Fiverr page where you can book one-on-one time with me if you want to learn a lot. There's an Etsy store with lots of fun stuff for sale. There is a Teespring store where you can get shirts. This is not one of my shirts. This is a Blip Shift shirts. If you're into cars at all and you're not subscribed to Blip Shift's email thing, you should be. They'll send you an email every day with the shirt of the day. They take they do one design a day, and then they take lots of orders over that like 24 to 48 hour period, and then that's it. You order your shirt, they have them all made, they ship them to you, and they're the most fun shirts in all of motorsport. Blip Shift, BLIPSHIFT. SHIFT. Whoop Fox says, I got a 4-pack of beer over the weekend, and the new can rings look like a Mobulate frame. It's got me thinking. Nice. You could use the aluminum beer cans as ducts and just gash the living shit out of people. What else is happening? I've got these little adapters to put CO3s or Caddx Ant lights into Mobula 6 canopies. At some point, they're going to go up in the Etsy store, but if you need them, let me know. I just finished printing a whole bunch of them a few days back, and so I do have them. They work really well. I've got a CO3 in this 2S build here. You can just barely kind of see the white. I printed out of PETG, and yeah, works really well. You drop the camera into it. You use a little dot of E6000 to hold the camera perfect. You could probably skip that, but why? And then, yeah, it uses the screws on the frame, and then you've got adjustable uptight, and yeah, it's just awesome. It's a really, really, really good one. You do have to spend a little bit of time on the Mobula 6 canopy. The opening in the front is sized for the itty bitty little lens on the Runcam Nano 3. And so you do have to open that little area up, but it's just, you just sit there with a file for 5 minutes and take a little bit of material off, push the lens of whatever camera you're going to run through it, take a little bit more off the other side, and then eventually you're good to go. So it's no big deal. This is a DIY hobby after all. So, yeah, the other, this is going to kind of be fun. I put the CO3 into this 2S analog build with the 1003 14,000 kV RC and power motors. I'm putting the Caddx Ant Lite into this 2S analog build with the Tiny Whoop 802 18,000s. And we will see which one wins, because I don't think I'm going to leave these both together. Maybe I will. I don't know. But there's a chance I'll pull one of them apart, because I do want to snag an X12.
I think we hear that bad dog.
He's barking at someone that lives here.
Oh, no.
I know he is. I do want to steal one of these X12s for the sub 250 FPV Turtle Pro and or Baby Turtle frames that I've got. This one is in purple carbon fiber and really, really cool looking. The other thing that I might do is pull one of the 1S 1.6 inch builds apart. But I do have two of these, so I don't know. Maybe I'll pull one of each apart. I tend to build two of a thing when I'm doing testing, so that I can actually head-to-head it to have some chance of being able to feel a difference between one setup and the other. And then when I get to the end of the testing, I have like these two things, and I'm like, well, and a lot of times it's like I like some things about this one and some things about this one, and so yeah, I gotta pick. But realistically, I do not need to have two 1S 75mm analog rigs. Like, I'm not gonna fly those very often, so those will probably be the ones that I pull apart first. And yeah, the little baby turtle setup is gonna be on 2S. I'm not gonna screw around with 1S. Should be fun. So that'll be interesting. I'll get to take the walk of shame 10,000 times and get frustrated and then take it apart, and then I'll have an extra X12 floating around. Because that's what happens every single time that I build I build anything open propped that doesn't have enough power to push blades of grass out of the way. What's happening in your world, Kevin? What's new?
Actually, I'm sitting here staring at my HD0 goggles and my brand spanking new TX15.
Nice.
And I am setting up ELRS backpack for the first time ever. I'm surprised I haven't done it sooner, but here we are.
What are you going to do with that?
That's the thing that lets you change the channel on your controller, and it does your goggles and your quad at the same time. So
through the Lewis script, right?
Yeah. Well, not even through the Lewis. Well, yeah. It's through the Express LRS Lewis script. Yeah.
So that I didn't realize that changes the goggles. That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, the HD0 goggles have an Express LRS receiver in them so that it can listen for the change channel commands.
Oh my god, no way.
Yep.
That's pretty slick. So it's only on those goggles.
You bind them similar to how you bind a receiver.
Oh my god, you have to bind them to the goggles?
Yeah, you bind the goggles to the transmitter.
Wow.
And it puts in your, the UID, the bunch of numbers that it converts into. Used to do in Betaflight configurator, it'd be like 154, 23, whatever.
Yeah.
It saves that in your goggles.
Wow, that's pretty slick.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool. Jesus Christ. That's wild.
Yeah. And it works for analog too.
Oh, sure.
Because HD0 does the analog and the V2 goggles, and so I'm switching over to doing that rather than having to do it through the OSD menu. And yeah,
sweet, very cool. All right, let's dive into this thing. Beta FPV very kindly sent me over this Meteor75 Pro O4. They didn't send an O4 over. I don't think they ever do that. they always just send the rig ready to go. We did the build on stream the other night. I did not build it the way that they recommend. I used a different setup of grommets, and I moved the I ran the wires differently, and I even used a different set of wires. I didn't use their set of wires. So if you're gonna get this thing, watch that before you build yours, unless you're gonna buy it from them with the O4 built in, which is not a terrible idea because it's only $200 with an O4 light. So you're basically paying $80 for the frame, motors. You're going to throw the props away that it comes with, and the AIO. And they're going to build it for you to save you a little bit of time. Oh, and the canopy and all this jazz. And so, yeah, if you're going to build it yourself, look at how I built it, because in my opinion, it is better the way that I kind of set it up. It's going to keep the boards from touching each other, basically, and sort of hard mounting the AIO. So, yeah, check that live stream out. I got done with the build so late in the stream that I really couldn't fly it. Not that it's really an indoor rig anyway, so... And not that it's not on O4, which I don't have the ability to get into the live stream. But I have now flown this thing a bunch, and I'm going to put some of the flight footage on. I did play a bunch of the RC Drift flight footage from this on the stream yesterday, but I am going to let that go after. I'm going to replay that after the outdoor flying. You guys are used to seeing me fly in the front of the house, so hopefully this will give you an idea of what to expect. We have been down the 1S, 1.8 inch, and 1.6 inch rabbit hole quite a bit over the last year or so. And typically the long and short of it is that if you can get it to make enough power, you don't have enough runtime. If you can get it to have enough runtime, it doesn't make enough power. Especially when you put an HD VTX and camera setup on board. If you're not going to do that, if you're going to do an analog build, the Treetoppers and now the GetBarC 1002 25,000s change that a little bit. They make just enough power, and they are efficient enough where it's pretty viable to do a 1S 1.6 inch prop or even 1.8 inch prop, but I really think you should do I think you should do the 1.6. But that's kind of up to you. If you want a little bit more float, you can do the Meteor75 Pro setup. It's going to be quite a bit heavier though. And the extra weight is going to kind of negate the efficiency gain that you're going to get from the bigger propellers. That's kind of on you. But those two motors, and what I would say is that if you're going to do the Treetopper motors, you should only do a 1.6 inch prop setup on the Mobile 704, Mobile 7 V4 frame. If you're going to do the GetBarC 1002 25,000s, then you can kind of pick. You can do it in the Meteor75 Pro frame here with the 1.8 inch props, or a 1.6 inch prop frame. You can also try the Meteor75 Pro frame if you want something that's a little bit lighter than the Mobile 7 V4 frame, but it's not as durable. And if you're flying outside, you might as well pound on it. And so, yeah. This first battery here is on the tri-blades. The HQ... What's the pitch on these? It might not even tell me. HQ just unfortunately, HQ just calls them 45 millimeter by 3 props. But the pitch is 10. These are an 1810. So this is an 1810 propeller. Very weirdly, so these ran fine on the stock tune, but early on in this flight, I think I landed. I guess it's the next battery. It's, hold on. Let me check this. 002, 3, 4. Oh, let's see. Is this the battery that, falls on its face here? For the record, before I throw it away, God damn it, Canon. Hold on. Hold on, please. Come on. Come on. Come on back to us. Whoop Fox, the purple lanyard is from Broken Prop Crew. You can't get them anymore, unfortunately. I hoarded them all. Okay. Hey, there I am changing the PIDs. Hold on. Wasn't there was a moment of insanity. It was right before here. Look at this thing wobbling around. Ready? Like that. We'll do it again here. This is with these 1810 HQ tri-blades. For some reason, they're not as well balanced as the 1.8-inch HQ biblades, which you're going to see in a little bit. So it was freaking out like that. I land it here, and I took the D gain and the P and I gain sliders down by 0.2, and then for the rest of this battery, you'll see it's totally fine. Then after this battery into the next battery, I put it onto the biblades, and I was able to push the tune a lot, which I'm going to plug this in, and I'm going to show you how far I was able to push it. But yeah, that's I have not, admittedly, I have not spent much time on these HQ 45mm by 3 tri-blades, and I will not be in the future because, yeah, something about them is not balanced out of the bag. And, like, you know, it's really easy to kind of tell that with the PID tune. You kind of can't hide from that. And so, to be honest, though, like, if you're flying this outside, you want to be on the biblades anyway. The tri-blades are awful grippy. Like, if you were going to try to fly this indoors, yeah, the tri-blades would be the way you maybe want to go for that extra little bit of grip and a little bit less slide. But, yeah, this is an outdoor build. This thing is heavy. It's going to break all the things that you own. Your housemates are going to stab you. It's all bad. Don't do it. Don't fly it inside. It's not for flying inside. So yeah, that was kind of wild. I did not expect that. I did not expect it. If anything, usually the tri-blades are better balanced than the biblades, right? That's like standard kind of propeller theory or whatever. So yeah, that was kind of weird. But the biblades make enough power. I think the tri-blades on these 1102 22,000s do make a little bit more power, but you could see right there that big hit of prop wash. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Ugh! That's what the tri-blades are going to do. They're a lot heavier. They're more draggy. They're going to kill the response time. And you can't push the tune very far with them. So now we are on to the biblades. And this is with the same tune. I'm going to land. Every time I land, I'm moving the tune up by 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. And I might as well plug it in now and show you how far the tune ended up going. I kind of couldn't believe how far I was able to push the tune on these biblades. And so let's give Betaflight an hour to open up because it's very slow for some reason. But yeah, this is on the same tune, but with a much lighter weight propeller. And so there was a little moment of prop wash there, and it wasn't really that bad because the lighter weight propellers are going to just give you better response time. You can see it sat down into its own wash there, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it was on the tri-blades. So like going to a lighter weight propeller is very similar to actually turning the PID gains up. The only thing, though, is that when you go to a lighter weight propeller, a lot of times you go to a lower pitch propeller. That right there, that was an entire battery. That was this Beta FPV white and blue 450 MAH-1S. Bad battery. No! Bad battery. I don't think it's folded cell. I think it's rolled cell. It immediately sagged down to like 3.3 volts, and I just got frustrated and just kept hammering on it. And so, yeah, this now, as you hopefully could just hear, is gone forever. So, yeah, do not get those batteries. The batteries that you want for these rigs are either going to be the Beta FPV Lava 450s, Lava 450, or the Weebleed 450, or the Tiny Whoop 450. These are all folded cell, and they perform way, 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 way better. So yeah, if you're gonna do this build, these are for sure the batteries you want to go for. I think the Tiny Whoop battery is the lightest by just like the smallest little amount. The only problem with this battery is that it doesn't have the plastic cap. So if you get into a really hard collision, nose in or tail in, this battery can slide around in the battery bay. It can technically even slide out of the battery bay, and then you've got a little dingleberry. You got to come home and fix it. The Weebleed and the Lava batteries have the plastic cap on them, and that's going to prevent it from moving around in the battery bay. Somebody said, why not 550? They're just way too heavy. Is that what you're about to call out, Kevin?
No, I was going to ask, have you tried snipping off the battery trays and instead running rubber bands?
I don't like the rubber band thing. I hit the bottom. I flat bottom on stuff a lot, which shreds the rubber bands. Rubber is also kind of heavy, and so yeah, I'm not a fan of the rubber band thing. Plenty of people are though, and if you run the rubber bands and you don't shred them all the time, it's kind of nice because the rubber grabs onto the battery and doesn't really let it move around very much. So yeah, if that's you, then enjoy. But I've never had luck with the rubber bands. Let me jump into Betaflight here real quick and show you where the PID tune ended up. So on this next battery, you're gonna see me land a bunch of times, and what basically you're gonna watch me do is go 7 6 5 4. Wait, no, 7 6 5 4 3. So this is where the tune is right now. And then every time I land, I'm going to go from 1.3 to 1.5, 1.1 to 1.3, and then I land again and go 1.7, 1.5, and then I land again and go 1.9, 1.7. This might be, no, it was like this. It was 1.9, 1.6. The differential that I like between damping and tracking is a 0.3 difference here. And so each time I land, I'm going to keep pumping this thing up, and then you'll see it doesn't do what it was doing on the tri-blades where it's freaking out. And so this is the tune that I ended up with. This is pretty similar to the tune that it ships with, just with a couple little tweaks. I think I moved the eye gains up a little bit. I think I moved the dynamic damping up a little bit. But yeah, this is the tune that it was just on. I forgot that this pitch tracking was down here a little bit. I'm actually going to do that. I don't necessarily want more. The differential between D gains and P and I gains I have set here on these main sliders. I don't want to amplify that anymore on the pitch specific sliders here. BetaFPV did, which is kind of interesting, but they didn't have as much of a differential up here, so it kind of makes sense. I've created more of a P to D balance that is heavy on the D gains than they did. I also kind of want to move this master multiplier down here, but I'm already damn near maxed out. But screw it, let's max it all the way out, and then I can pull this master multiplier down here. The reason I like to pull the master multiplier down and leave it at 1.0 is that it affects the feed forward, and I don't want any more feed forward. It also affects the Dmax, and I don't want any more Dmax than I kind of have here. So this is my final tune, almost identical to what you're about to watch. But you'll see me land, turn the tune up, do a couple prop wash hits, and so you'll get to see the prop wash disappear as I move this tune from having the damping at 1.4 up to 1.3 up to 1.5 up to 1.7 up to 1.9. But this right here was this stupid blue and white battery that just flew like a bag of assholes, and it only flew for a minute. Why are we upside down? Oh, it's the end of the battery. So yeah, this is the last battery that I flew today, right? 04? Yes, 004. Okay. Is it playing? It's not playing. Here you go. So this is kind of cool. You'll get to watch what happens when you move. You know, this is also what's going to happen if you move the master multiplier up. This is what happens when you push the P, I, and D gains up, all three of them. And I'm pushing them up in the same ratio. I'm not doing it with the master multiplier because I don't want the feed forward to go up. I don't want the D max to go up. But the feed forward, you're not going to really see in the flight footage. You're going to kind of feel it on the sticks more. And so here's the first adjustment. You'll probably see me go like this to signal that I'm going up with the PIDs. Yep, there you go. And so yeah, this is what happens when you increase the PID gains. And what you're watching out for, the reason why I take off and do that slow, smooth cruise is because that's where this thing was showing some problems when the PID tune was over. I did that smooth cruise. It didn't act weird. I gave it that one hit of prop wash. That prop wash was still not that great. There's the signal for going up again. So now we're going up to 1.7, I think. And so a lot less prop wash there, right? Here's something really interesting. Notice this is really what you're looking for when you move the tune up. It's how quickly the prop wash happens. So look at the frequency. Here it is. Ready? Watch how slow this prop wash is. Ready? And right? It's look the speed that it wiggled back and forth. Now watch the difference. Ready? See it? You might not even be able to see it on the live stream because YouTube kills the quality so bad, but it's there. It was right there, and it's right here again. The prop wash wiggle is much faster. That's what increasing the PIDs is doing. It's making it attack the prop wash earlier, and that's going to make the prop wash literally. It's going to make the frequency of the prop wash literally higher. And then if you keep pushing the PIDs, eventually it's going to pretty much go away, or it's going to become so the oscillation is going to be so fast that you can't even see it. And so that's what we're kind of going for. But sometimes if the motors are beat up, if the props are out of balance, if the props are beat up, if the frame is beat up, you just kind of can't do that. Depending on how clean the build is, a lot of times you just can't push the PIDs up as aggressively as this. This is a brand new build, and so I'm able to push the PIDs like crazy. Well, that would have been a prop wash turn if I hadn't hit that branch, but there you go. That was prop wash, and it's almost imperceptible. It happens at such a high frequency that you can almost not see that it's happening at all. I don't think I land again. I think I just fly it a little bit. Yeah, this is pretty much the end of the battery. This is not a great way to do this because as the battery sags lower and lower and lower, the motors have access to less power. So like if you're ever doing this and you feel like it's not helping, put a fresh battery on it, and that's going to get you more voltage. You should have you should have the VBAT sag compensation turned on to 100%, which helps with that quite a bit. It throttles the battery back a little bit when it's fully charged, and then as you run through the battery, it's gonna throttle the battery a little bit less, so that you kind of have even battery voltage through. But yeah, if you're doing a one battery PID tune, understand that as the battery sags, it's going to be kind of like turning the PIDs down. So if you're then turning the PIDs up, those two things are kind of counteracting one another. It's actually kind of a better idea to crank the PIDs way the hell up at the beginning of the battery, and then turn them down a little bit. But then it's kind of the same deal. By the end of the battery, you have less voltage, so you should be doing it over a couple batteries. Maybe just make I just made 3 or 4 changes in that one battery. Just make one change per battery. Charge up like 3 or 4 batteries, fly for 30 seconds to a minute, make a change, fly it again, fresh battery, see how it feels there, fly it for a minute, get used to it, make a change, right? Make sure that when you crank these PIDs up, that you at least fly them once on a fully charged battery, because What might happen is at the very end of the battery, you've turned the PIDs way up and made them really aggressive. Well, then you put a fresh battery on, and the fresh battery is going to give you better response time, and now you're over the limit. And so, yeah, be careful with that. I've tuned enough where, like, I know that, and so at the end of a battery, if I have the, like in this case, if I have the tune absolutely cranked to the moon, I know to charge one more battery and just make sure that it's not going to freak out when it has more voltage. But yeah, the tune, I was able to crank the tune up quite a bit on these biblades, which is pretty cool. The thing is flying great. The problem, as is with all 1S HD builds, is the runtime. But it's not that bad. On the 450 mAh 1S batteries, it's getting about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. On that blue and white battery, it only got 1 minute, but that battery sucks a bag of donkeys, so just don't do that. But yeah, I was pretty surprised by when I'd done this setup previously. I was at 2 minutes of runtime, and that's, for me, that's just not enough. Like, 2 minutes is not enough time to, like, get in the zone and enjoy a chunk of flying. 2.5 minutes is, like, right there. 2.5 minutes for me is, like, minimum, like, bare minimum. If I had some super compelling reason to have a 1S O4 build, this would be it. I kind of don't. I like the way that 2S flies on these little guys, and so I probably won't keep this thing together. I'll probably use this for parts somewhere else. But if you want the quietest outdoor capable 1.6/1.8 inch O4 build, this is pretty good. This is a really good, you know, at the, oh, here's the RC drift footage, by the way. At the drift competition, a whole bunch of guys were like, you know, how do I get started in this? And I kind of explained, you know, beta FPV and happy model, and I feel pretty comfortable recommending this, to be really honest. I don't know about the 65mm version of this, unless you are only going to fly indoors, because this is awful heavy to be specifically flying it indoors. Something for inside and outside, yeah, I think this is it. This is going to do a better job than the 65mm setup. But yeah, 2S is going to get you better flight performance, more power, and more runtime. And so, how do you say no to that, right? Like, and yes, it's going to be a little bit heavier and a little bit louder. And so, like, it's tough. The 2S, what's tough is there is no 2S setup that's not totally DIY, right? So, like, if you want an O4 bind and fly that just works and is totally capable of flying outdoors, I've got the drift footage on, and I just have the face cam. That's brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, if you want more of a bind and fly, this is shockingly good. I did not expect this to be as good as it is because of the past experience that I've had building almost identical setups to this. The other thing that I was really impressed with this is that I didn't have any jello. Those flights were pretty bright out, and I had the shutter speed cranked up to 1/640th of a second, and there was no jello. I have a feeling that's because this is an absolutely fresh build. I have a feeling that once you started to beat this thing up and the propellers start to get banged up, which isn't that big of a deal because you can just throw fresh propellers at it, but when the motors start to get banged up, when the frame starts to get creased up, when everything sort of works in, I have a feeling that you'll start to get jello if you fly it in the middle of the day, bright situations. You can either just never fly it in the middle of the day and only fly it in golden hour, sunrise, sunset, right? Or you can change the canopy setup, but at that point it's going to gain a bunch of weight. You can change the canopy setup to something that'll accept the Flywoo O4 camera bracket, and then put the ND filters on it. This is this is how my 2-inch build is set up. I would not recommend, though, for 1S. This big old TPU canopy and the housing here and the ND filter are going to make this thing, it'll gain at least 2 grams, maybe even 3+ grams. And that's going to be too much. So, like, with this Meteor75 Pro O4, you're going to have to keep it clean. You're going to have to make sure that the frame doesn't get beat up, make sure the motors don't get beat up, make sure it has fresh props on it. The motors should be fine. They're a 1.5mm motor shaft. But in fairness, I have heard plenty of people that have this thing complaining about jello. And, you know, that's just what you're going to get from HD video systems in broad daylight without an ND filter, where the shutter speed has to crank way up. But yeah, like I said, I was really surprised that I didn't have any jello on this. In fairness, you know, the days are so short right now that, like, when I try to fly in the middle of the day, it's actually not the middle of the day. So, like, if I did actually fly this when the sun is directly overhead, which I don't even know what time that is at this point, it feels like that's 8 a.m. in the morning. That is going to be a little bit harder on it. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't flying it at sunset. I was flying it like hours before sunset, which, like, you know, most of you have a job, so you're not going to be able to, like, fly it at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning anyway. You're going to fly it when you come home from work, and that's going to be sort of sunset. So you'll be pretty much okay there. Yeah, really, really impressed. I was also, to be honest, I was really impressed that I was able to do anything. I put it up in the air here at the RC Drifts Car place, like, almost as a joke. Just like, oh, let me just get this out of the way. I brought a couple batteries. Let me just see how bad this is. And, like, you know, it's nothing like my custom built super lightweight 65mm rig, but, like, I was able to hang with these guys, and, like, if I slowed this footage down to 50%, there's, like, a couple moments that would be usable, right? Like, that's somewhat usable there until I ate that poor man. Hold on. Where's another usable clip? Here we go, look. That's kind of usable. Look at that. I'm down low. I'm crashing again. So yeah, really impressive, man. I'm kind of blown away by this thing. For me, it's 2S though. It's 2S, 1.6 inch on the Mobile 7 V3 frame, for something that's as light as possible and still outdoor flyable. And then it's 2S 2-inch propeller on the Mobile 8 frame for something that can pick up an ND filter and just push against the wind as hard as possible. But again, those are, like, relatively custom builds. Not really, though, because you can just buy a Mobile 704 and then just frame swap it. The Mobile 704, the problem with that is lots and lots and lots of up tilt. And at that point, you need to change the canopy. There is a new canopy for it that has adjustable up tilt, like this Beta FPV canopy. And so, yeah, if you want, like, a total bind and fly, no screwing around, this thing is exactly that. If there's somebody that you want to get into the hobby that already has Goggles 3, Goggles 2, Goggles Integra, this is a really interesting setup, especially for $200. It's absolutely insane that this is only $200. This is me right now dialing in my Throttle Expo. The Throttle Expo was set for outdoor flying. What's kind of funny is, at some point in that flight footage of me flying out in front of the house with this thing a minute ago, I changed my midpoint back to where it was before. This comes with 20 points of Throttle Expo and the midpoint at 45. For flying really flat and slow like this, I had to turn the midpoint down to 35, but then as soon as I started flying it outside again, I was around that 45% throttle when I was cruising, so I put that midpoint right back up to where it was, and it felt great. So yeah, shout out to Beta FPV for selling this thing with Throttle Expo. Very, very cool. Kind of a I'm shocked that they're doing that, because if you want to fly it really slow like this, that Throttle Expo is actually working against you. But like, this isn't for this. Like, this is not this is way too heavy for flying it around like this. This is for what I was showing you before, ripping it around out in front of the house. And they've got that Throttle Expo dialed damn near perfect for flying out in front of the house. And they're only using 20 points of Throttle Expo, which is like not that much. So it's not that bad. It's just doing this kind of flying here, you have to dial that, that Throttle Expo has to be absolutely perfect. So yeah, pretty cool that they're putting that on there. I don't know if I've ever seen a manufacturer sell a bind, not that I see a lot of bind and flies, but yeah, I've never heard of anybody putting Throttle Expo on. So that was pretty cool. Hell, maybe they even learned that from one of my live streams. You never know, because I feel like I'm the only person talking about it. What say you, Kevin? Any thoughts? There was a shot. Say again.
I'm watching these guys drift. I have a minute. You were talking about mini Z's yesterday, and I have a mini Z set up for drifting at home in the basement, where I have pretty slick concrete right now. But it is squirrely as heck, man.
Too small, too lightweight, and too small.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly it.
These drift cars are fucking heavy. These guys add weight to these cars just to get them to slow down.
Oh, I bet I could throw some. I've got a box of wheel weights that I put in random stuff, like the last thing I think I put them into was I have a walkie-talkie ham radio. The charge base for it, it grips well enough that you pick it up and the charge base comes with it. So I put a bunch of wheel weights, stuffed a bunch of wheel weights inside of it.
Nice.
Man, a box of wheel weights is just a thing I feel like everybody just needs around the house.
Yeah, it's true. Just a box of lead.
Well, they're not lead anymore. They're steel now, but
are they? Okay.
Yeah. They switched to steel a while ago because of the lead concerns.
Right.
But yeah, they're coated so that the steel doesn't corrode. But well, at least the good ones are.
In theory.
But yeah, and I don't need yet another hobby, especially another RC hobby. And so
real.
I haven't put a whole lot of money into RC drifting or anything. Hey, any tips for the people, including myself, for finding a RC drift store that they could potentially do this at? So, like, is there a league or is there like a multi GP, but for
actually
drift racers?
Yeah, there is. Balls. There's a little registry, RC drift. Hold on. I remember seeing a well, there you go. RCspotters.com. It looks like I just searched for RC drift registry. Maybe this is the spot. I have seen, so I'm in our local group's Facebook group chat, and I've seen them post an image showing a bunch of spots. Let's try this. 30043. Let's see what happens here. Interesting. Hey, there's B&B. I don't think Hobbytown does it, but B&B does it. That's where I just was. That's pretty cool. So yeah, it looks like Grayson does not do it. So this isn't finding RC drift shops. This is just finding hobby shops. Here's the thing though. If the move is just to do this, find hobby shops in your area. Hobby shops all sell ground-based RC stuff, and just call them. Just call the hobby shop and just say, hey, I'm looking for RC drift people. Do you know of anybody? And they'll know of somebody, or they'll know of a website or a Facebook group or something like that. And then you call the next hobby shop, and eventually you'll call a hobby shop that has an RC drift track in their store, and then you can get tied in that way. This is just looking. I mean, this is fine. RCspotters.com. But it doesn't look like it's specifically calling out the drift spots. But yeah, that's all you want to do, is get in touch with the local hobby shops. They're going to be selling these guys a lot of their parts, and they're going to kind of know about them. So that's the way to do it for sure. It shouldn't take very long before you can find them. Also, do the FPV trick, right? Go into Facebook groups and search for RC Drift and then the name of the biggest city near you. And they'll probably have a Facebook group somewhere or a Facebook page or whatever. You can also do that on Instagram. Go to Instagram and type in RC Drift. You know, for me, it would be like Lawrenceville. And yeah, you'll be able to find them. RC drifting is a much bigger hobby than FPV, so it won't take you long to find them. But you might have to do a little bit of digging.
Jamie Flies with a relevant question. Ciotti, do the guys get upset when you bumped them while drifting?
No, they love it. They absolutely love it. I've ripped end plates off of wings before, and everybody just laughs. I've hit cars hard enough to leave marks on the cars, and everybody laughs. It's the same thing as the real drift community. Like, the more banged up your car and your body is, the more like cred you've got, because it means that you're crashing hard. And like, there's actually guys that will beat the bodies up on purpose to make them, like, the rear ends of the bodies, like, they'll smash them up and fuck the paint all up so that it looks like a real drift car. And not to mention that the first time they see the footage, they'll shut right the hell up, because it's just the coolest thing ever, right? Like, they've spent their entire time just looking at 45 degrees down at these cars to see flight footage from right up on the door at 50% speed is just like, they just light up. And the two of the guys at this drift competition were like, I mean, a bunch of the guys are just like, oh my god, like, when they see me come through the door, like, oh yo. Two of the guys are like, dude, you're family now, man. You do whatever the hell you want. And like, because it came up because there were two out-of-towners that didn't want me to fly while they were driving, which, you know, like, is totally fine, right? Like, you want to concentrate on it. It's a competition. There was some sort of a prize. Like, it's totally fine. It is what it is. But it was funny because, like, the other guys, like the local guys, they were like, oh, fuck, like, because, you know, they know that I'm showing up and like not charging them anything and doing the edits for free and shit like that. And so they were, you know, they like made sure, like, hey, no, sorry about that guy, whatever. And so yeah, you will very quickly become like their best friend, and any damage that you actually do, they will not give a rat's ass, or they will enjoy it. So I went to this place 2 Thursdays ago just to make sure that the lights weren't going to flicker, just to, you know, check this new spot out. And they actually let me drive one of these cars. They are insanely difficult, and they go into understeer a lot. And so they will like plow understeer into everything so much harder with so much more energy and weight than what we can do to them. And so, like, anybody that's getting pissed off that your 25-gram tiny whoop is hitting them, they're just being an asshole to be an asshole. And this community seems pretty cool. And so I really doubt that you'll deal with that, because yeah, when they crash, it is, you hear it too. You'll hear one of them go off the side of the track and then bang, like, of smashing into like the chair leg or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's a big hit. They set the bodies up on magnets, and so like when that does happen, the Lexan body actually pops up off the magnets, and then the chassis of the car takes the hit, which is, you know, the chassis of the cars are really strong. So yeah, I've never had a single person, and like I said, I've ripped end plates off. I've gotten it jammed in the wing before. I think I've even knocked somebody's wing off before. They just laugh, because if the thing that we knocked off is that fragile, it's come off before. And like the most recent time that it happened, the guy was like, I knew I shouldn't have used CA glue for that. I was like, do you guys use E6000? He's like, yeah, I didn't use it because it takes a while to set. I was like, yeah. He's like, I was in a hurry and I CA glued it. I knew it was going to come off anyway. I just didn't think it was going to come off from a drone, and everybody laughed about it. So yeah, nobody cares. They love it. Same thing at a real drift event.
We need a T-shirt with a tuba E6000 on it.
Oh my god, yeah, right. For real, the fix all. I loved hearing that they use it. I mean, obviously they do, yeah. But it was just cool to be like, yeah, man, we use 6000 everything. I'm like, cool, all right, good. And so yeah, Howdy Newbie was the last chat comment that I didn't answer. which was what was the flight time with that heavy 1S rig? Yeah, 2.5 minutes. Pretty much no matter what I did, it was 2.5 minutes with this guy. I don't think you're going to get any better than that. When I had very similar setups to this on the lighter weight Mobula 7 V4 frame and 1.6 inch props, the best runtime that I could get was 2.5 minutes. This Meteor75 Pro frame allows you to run bigger propellers, but the problem is this frame is heavier. So you only get the tiniest little bit of extra runtime, it looks like, by going up to this Meteor75 Pro frame. Look, 1S is just at its absolute limit. Like, this is pushing 1S to its absolute limit and maybe like a little bit beyond it. And that's kind of where you want to be. Like, if you're not pushing if you're not pushing your voltage or the kV of the motors or the size of the motors or the weight of the rig to the limit, then you're leaving performance on the table. So like, this is in a great place. Again, personally, I like these setups on 2S. And what's really insane is that when you do a 2S build very similar to this, you get both more power and more runtime. And that right there, when you go up in battery voltage and you get both of those things, that is a surefire sign that on the lower voltage, you have pushed it to the bitter limit and a little bit beyond. We could probably push 2S a little bit farther. We're probably not at the edge of the performance envelope for 2S. We could probably run more kV. We could probably run heavier setups. But why? Like, it's meant to fly in small spaces. It flies unbelievably good, and we're getting great runtime. We're getting 3.5 minutes of runtime. And so it's like, you know, I'm not going to fly these in a bigger space where I'll need more power. If for some reason I need to, it's nice to know that it's there. I would just need to turn the motor limiting up, right? Most of these 2S builds, we've got them motor limited down to 90%, 85%. And so if I ever did want that little bit extra performance, I could certainly get it. You know, something like this at the limit, like this is it. It's 100% motor output. It's like full tilt. You're never going to get more than 2.5 minutes unless you do a lot of hovering. You know, also earlier in the stream, I answered it, but somebody was saying, why not run the 550 mAh batteries? These are the batteries that Beta FPV shipped me with this Meteor75 O4. I've tested these batteries quite a bit. Yes, you'll get a little bit more runtime, but these batteries are quite a bit heavier. Let's actually take a look at exactly how much heavier. And so you lose that little bit of extra flight performance. And from a flight performance standpoint, this is like, you're not going to want this to have any worse flight performance. A little bit of extra runtime at the sacrifice of flight performance is not what you want. And 2.5 minutes is fine. Just get more 450 mAh 1S batteries. The 550 is 14 grams. The 450 is 12.5 grams. That's a big difference. And so buy more of these 450s and then just change them more often, and it's going to fly significantly better than the chunky McChunks-a-lot 550s. I wanted to fly batteries on this stream, but I have all 450s on the charger. Well, you know what? We'll fly these 450s. We're gonna fly 75 millimeter rigs inside. That's a terrible idea. Let's do it.
Are you on chat?
Not yet. But I was about to throw little batteries on the charger, but I'm now not going to do that. Let me give you the all-up weight with the two different batteries. So dry weight on this build with mods. I forgot to talk about mods. Really the only two mods that I think you should do to this thing. We already talked about potentially changing the canopy into a setup that's going to allow you to run ND filters, I don't recommend you do that because that's going to be too heavy and you're going to lose that little bit of flight performance that this thing really needs. So you're not going to want to change the canopy. Antenna, for sure. ORT Micro V antenna, brilliant on here. That's a no-brainer. I don't even really consider that to be a mod at this point. The linear antennas are totally fine, but these ORT Micro Vs are so cheap. They're on my Etsy store at the perfect length for this, with a little bit of extra shrink wrap on them. So yeah, the antennas aren't even a mod at this point. It's just kind of a given. It's cheap. It makes a noticeable difference. It's more durable. Awesome. Do it. And it's lighter. The mods that you're going to potentially want to do to this, the no-brainer mod is going to be the propellers. This ships with the GemFan tri-blade propellers, which are way heavier and not as well balanced as the HQ ultralights. So the propellers that this ships with, just get rid of them. If you're going to buy this thing, get HQ ultralight biblades and maybe tri-blades. Get a couple sets of biblades because you're going to love them and they're super well balanced. Get one set of the tri-blades because somehow they seem to not be as well balanced, but they are going to make a little bit more power and they are going to have a little bit more grip. And so the main mod for this thing, other than the antenna, is going to be the propellers. Get it off those GemFans, put it onto these HQ ultralights. You're going to love it. These are 1.8-inch propellers. HQ calls them 45mm propellers to make everything infinitely confusing. 45mm by 3, 45mm by 2. That's the main mod that you're going to make to this thing. The mod that I have not tested, but I can pretty much tell you is going to be a good one, is going to be to put it onto the GEP-RC 1002 25,000 kV motors. These are Beta FPV 1102 22,000 kV motors, and they're really good. You guys saw the flight footage. This thing flies really nice, but 22,000 kV is a little bit low. And so if you get this and you're just dying to hop it up and do more than propellers and an antenna, hands down, the next mod is those specific motors. No 802s. This is too heavy for an 802. That motor, the Treetoppers are going to overheat. You're not going to like it. There is one motor that could and probably will improve the performance of this thing a little bit, and that's the GEP-RC 1002 25,000. But I'll be honest, man, this is really good on these motors. If you're going to buy this, you're buying it because it's a bind and fly. The whole point of that is that you just fly the damn thing. You don't get all obsessed with testing stuff, changing stuff, going all bananas, trying to make it lighter, trying to make it more durable. Like, you're buying it as a bind and fly to fly it as a bind and fly for $200 with the O4 air unit. It's a hell of a deal. And so embrace that. Embrace that you've bought a bind and fly and you're going to leave it alone and maybe just change the propellers and the antenna. But, you know, that mindset will last you a couple weeks if you're anything like me, which I'm sure you are. And then you'll go, no, I got to know what it's like on the GEP-RC motors. It'll on the GEP-RC motors, it'll lose a little bit of weight and it'll gain a little bit of power. It's not going to be drastic though. These 1102s pair really well with these 1.8-inch props. But yeah, there's your sort of mod path to go on. Antenna first, propellers next. Although antenna and propellers at the same time, let's be honest. And then if you just have to change something else, it's going to be the motors. That's really all you can. I guess you could then move this to a 1.6-inch prop frame, but this is really good in this big frame. I don't know about that. I kind of think maybe leave it in this frame. If you wanted it to lose a little bit of weight, then you could move it down into a frame that swings 1.6-inch props. But do that for a reason. Like if you have a spot where you're like a jungle gym, right? So like jungle gym has a lot of gaps really close together. And so if you get this and it's a little too heavy and it's a little too slidey, that's the reason to go down and try to lose weight. The lighter it is, the less momentum it's going to have when you corner. And so if you're flying in like a really small spot, that would be really the only reason. But this is really good like this. I forgot to give you guys the weight. With The HQ ultralight biblades, which are the lightest prop that you're going to really be able to run on this, it's 37.8 grams. With a Lava 450, it becomes 50.2 grams. With the Lava 550, which you should not do, it becomes 51.8 grams. 51.9 grams. So there you go. Sub 50 gram. If there's some reason that you need to be sub 50 grams, this is as good as it's going to get. I don't think any of the 2S builds are going to be sub 50. Although, we can take a look. It's incredibly easy to check that real quick. Yeah, this is actually... So this is my 2S O4 Whoop. It's actually on the Beta FPV 1102s as well. It is 34.7 dry, and then with one of these awesome little Tiny Whoop 2S 300s, it becomes 50.1. So I guess this is basically sub 50 grams. I could easily find 0.1 of a gram on it. There's a whole shitload of grass on the inside of all these ducks. I bet you if I got all this grass out of here, it would become 50 grams right on the money. So, yeah, okay. If you need to be sub 50 grams, you can do the 2S build. And there's nothing really all that special about this. This is just, you know, my normal... But this is totally DIY, right? This is not the Mobula 704, although you could. You could just buy a Mobula 704. Well, no, you couldn't. You couldn't be sub 50. This is sub 50 grams because it's on BT 3.0. And because... oh, no, you know, you could easily get this. Yeah, you could totally buy a Mobula 704, frame swap it down to 1.6, go to BT 3.0 and still be sub 50. You just wouldn't run 1102 motors. You'd run 1002 motors, which would be totally fine. So yeah, being sub 50 is not specific to this. That's apparently easier to do than I thought. But still, bind and fly, yo. $200 and you're up in the air on O4 Lite. That's pretty awesome. There are no 2S rigs that do that. So yeah. Find a friend that is dying to fly FPV, get him to buy this, and then here's the move. You wait like a month, and they'll lose interest or they'll get frustrated by how awful FPV is, and then you can just be like, yo, you haven't flown that in a while, let me borrow it. And then it's yours.
Can you still buy that BNF in the US, given the not quite yet a ban?
Good call. Let's see. Is anybody selling it? It's on Beta FPV's website. That's where I pulled the price from. Is it on Amazon? No way. Get it. Why is it $300 on Get FPV? Why is it $275 on Race Day Quads? Why is it $250 on Pyrodrone?
Delicious cheeseburger tariffs.
Yeah, okay, so I guess it's not $200. So it doesn't look like Amazon has it. Wowee. It's completely insane that on the three main websites. That's the 65. Hold on.
And that's no good. Don't buy that.
If you're desperate to fly something indoors, maybe buy it. But
yeah. It's heavy.
It's the performance is not going to be nearly the same. Okay, so Pyrodrone doesn't even have it. It doesn't look like. Let me just make sure though. Oh no, they do. It is out of stock though. But yeah, that's wild that all three websites have it at three completely different prices. But yeah, right now, oh boy. So the cheapest you can get it is $275. It's probably still a good deal. I mean, it's kind of the only option. There's no other options. If you're dying to have a bind and fly tiny whoop that you can blast out in the front of the yard, this is kind of it with O4 on board. So yeah, you have to make that decision if 276 is worth it to you. At $200, it's kind of a no-brainer. At 270, that's more of a brainer. But I'm super impressed. Thanks again to BetaFPV for sending this over. I did not expect it to be as good as it is. If you're going to DIY something, though, 2S, yo. But man, being able to just give someone paper and then get that in exchange, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And again, you know, if there's somebody in your life that wants to get started flying FPV, they're going to quit. Get them into that if that's what you want. Suggest that they buy what you want. Which is like, you know, like I'm making a joke out of that, but like that's what I do, right? Like if I like something, that means it flies damn good. And like if it's a bind and fly, it's all bind and flies are going to be as easy as all other bind and flies to get up in the air. So you kind of might as well. Let's fly a couple of batteries. I did put 6 batteries in the stream title today. And so what happened here? And so you need to fly. Hopefully you already did. If not, get off your ass and do it now. Why is this? Why did I have this in here? This is 2S. This is Chews. CHEWS. Where did the... There they are. I was very confused. I thought that 2S rig was in the 1S box. I'm slow today. We are going to fly these two 1S 75mm builds. One of them is on GetBar C1002 25,000s. The other one is on the Treetoppers. This should be pretty obvious. If you're going to do a 1.6-inch prop setup for flying inside the house, it should be on the Treetoppers. These GetBar C motors are significantly heavier. Yes, they make more power. Yes, they're a little bit more efficient because they stay cooler. But as you will probably see in a minute, the extra weight of these is going to be really difficult to handle inside the house. So let's see what I can break. We're going to do the Lava 450s first. And let's do this. I'm going to fly the GetBar. I have 5 batteries charged. 2 of the Lava 450s and 3 of the Tiny Whoop 450s. I'm going to fly a Lava on this, and then we're going to go to the Treetopper build, and we're going to fly 3 batteries in a row on this, and then we're going to go back to this. That'll give me the most time to kind of adjust, and hopefully give you all the most time to see the difference between the two. Pay attention to like when I corner, how much it kind of maintains its momentum and slides out. Pay attention to how often I crash when that happens. When I expect that when I turn these things that they will just go. This is the main reason to not fly 1.6-inch builds in the house, is that they're too heavy. And when you turn them, especially when you turn them flat, they're just going to want to keep going in the direction that they were. And so, yeah, let's fly a little bit, and then I'll get caught up on chat, I think. Let me get the chat scrolled to where I'm leaving off, though. Actually, Kevin, you want to do me a favor? At 1026, Too Close FPV said, I've been using it since I got my Box Pro Plus. Backpack is sick. And then Levster says, hey, everybody. CiottiFPV, hi, dude. Can you read off the comments? Oh, you don't see...
No, I got it.
It doesn't light up an orange for you, though. It's so much easier. It does
if I search and highlight all.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, can you get me caught up on chat while I fly?
Yeah, let me, let's see. I gotta find that spot, though.
Amazing. All right. So I'm now at 1028. Monsoon Lock and Key says, what do you think of the Flywoo FOV lens mod for the O4? If you guys look at the thumbnail image for the Halloween stream, you'll see a giant pink and green halo on the left of the cover image. When I take those images that are really macro, that are really close up, that's a 2306 motor on there that's like full screen. when I take those images, I always use my cell phone to take the thumbnail images. When it's a super macro close-up like that, it's a lens on top of the cell phone lens. It's a lens into a lens. And that is what happens when you have a lens in front of a lens. If there is any light source in front of you, it on the opposite side of it produces this big old ugly, not always ugly, sometimes it's like artsy looking, but it's artsy looking in still photography. In video, it's ugly because you can't see. And that's the problem with that Flywoo setup, is that you're putting a lens in front of a lens. It's also heavy, let's not forget that. But yeah, it's a lens in front of a lens, and so you're going to get all kinds of weird like aberrations and stuff whenever you look towards the sun. And that's going to be like 50% of the time because it's wide angle. And so like 50% of the time, Mads Tech's video shows it, you're going to get this big ugly thing. And so, yeah, that's what I kind of think of it, is that it creates this big thing that you really can't do anything about. And personally, that drives me insane. I would rather have less field of view and cleaner video than have that every time I'm facing towards the sun. But that's just me. If you're just going to fly freestyle and not do anything with the flight footage, who cares what it looks like? And if that wider field of view is better for you, that's totally cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But it is going to be heavier. It is going to be a little bit fragile, right? There are going to be some... You're going to have to run a different canopy. I would worry about that thing popping out and losing it, right? It's cool that it exists, but for like hard freestyle, I don't think it's... I don't think it makes a ton of sense. But again, that's just me. Hey.
Woopok says, Ciotti, what's that dope purple lanyard you're using on your VTX?
Yeah, so that's Broken Prop Crew. They're not around anymore, and I hoarded all of those, so sorry. I do have a big box of really cool lanyards from Broken Prop Crew. Oh boy. That I bring with me. Oh, you bastard, you. Everywhere that I go. If you bug me, I'll take a picture and send you what I got, and I'll send you one of them. If you do a Etsy order, I'll throw in a Broken Prop Crew lanyard for free. You just gotta remind me. I had a good run of remembering, but then I started forgetting. I'll try to start remembering again. But yeah, none of that specific one left.
Jimmy the Cow says, CiottiFPV, now that you built and flew the stock Meteor75 Pro O4, then modded the heck out of that thing, what about some water slide stickers?
There he is. There he is.
Danzilla Terrible says, CiottiFPV, that note to put your receivers into Gemini mode has been there so long, it's going to burn itself into your monitor if you don't get that done. Chop chop, son.
So they're coming. They're shipping them in Gemini mode now. So I actually don't. I can delete that note, but I'm worried that I still have one or two of them that's not in Gemini mode. So I leave that note up, and every single time I have one of those rigs plugged in, or I'm like messing with one of those rigs on the bench, I just double check it. It's insane that they were shipping those receivers not in Gemini mode initially.
Do you have a setup checklist that you run through that's not just in your brain?
Nope. I should, though. God, is that a good idea? Well, actually, I do. I have a sticky note with a bunch of stuff that I copy and paste into the CLI, but a specific checklist would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Let's see. Monsun Locken P says, CiottiFPV, have you used the Flywoo FOV lens for that O4 yet?
I have not, and I won't. It's just yeah, I won't use it. It's too heavy. There's not a great way of mounting it. And the lens into a lens thing, it would just drive me nuts. So yeah, I don't have any plans of getting that or using it. And I don't have a problem with the field of view, to be honest. The field of view that the O4 lights have is super linear, and like it's not so narrow that it really bothers me. So yeah, I no plans of messing with that. Mads Tech did a great video on it. I don't need to. There's really kind of like nothing to add.
Hard Bar says, CiottiFPV, thanks for the info you gave me about the X12 VTX table. That was out of whack. Reflashed a couple different values before it resolved my problem. My
Nice.
tooth grinder 2-inch is in the air. Thank you.
Nice. Love it. Love it! Oh my god. This is hard to fly inside.
Off-Axis FPV says, at CiottiFPV, long-time listener, first-time caller, is it true that the Meteor75 is more a 8 because of the 45mm props? Maybe you said this already.
No, it's still, you know, we can check it. So the 75 refers to motor post to motor post, as Nick Burns says. That's my best Nick Burns impression. Look at all this up tilt. This is one of the reasons I'm having a hard time flying this thing. It's too much up tilt. Yeah, no, they managed to keep it 75. Let's see though. I actually haven't measured it. But yeah, here. I'm not gonna do it with calipers. I'm just gonna do it a rough ruler here. Oh wow, no, there's. Yeah, no, I can use the ruler on the bottom. So let's see. Oh no, you're right. It is. What the hell? Those liars. See, this is what happens when I just assume that, you know, they wouldn't fib. It's 80. It's 80 millimeters motor to motor. Yeah. So this is a Meteor 80.
I also don't wish. I wish that they would stop switching between like motor post to motor post and then prop size. Like, can we do one or the other?
Don't even
and
get me started on that.
Can we do one system of measurement, please? Like, can we all just get off of cheeseburger inches and move to metric, please?
At the very, I guess we should be thankful that they don't also measure inches from motor post to motor post. I guess you know, but they do everything else wrong. They do millimeters and inches for the prop diameter, and then yeah, it's just so confusing. All right, so that was the 1002 rig. It's heavy. It feels heavy. It's hard to change directions. That was the lava battery. Here comes another lava battery in the Treetopper build. This is like almost 3 grams lighter. This will be a noticeable difference. I wonder if you'll be able to tell the difference. Here we go.
Davey Flies FPV says, CiottiFPV, the 1S 65mm O4 light I built from your part recommendations uses that canopy, almost no jello, except in a no throttle dive in bright daylight.
Okay, very cool. I've the way that it soft mounts the camera, it's actually pretty good. I thought it was gonna be like sort of more janky, but man, those little things hold on pretty good. Is that oh god, I'm assuming that's a fresh build, Jamie. I suspect that if you were to try to hard freestyle that, that you would start to get more jello. I suspect that with a bunch of crashes that would change the game a little bit, but you never know. Oh god, I can't handle the transmitter beeping, and if I just turn the volume down, I'll run this battery to death. So hang on. There's something weird about this. Oh, you know what? I probably have I have these things set up to fly outside, so I have like a bunch of up tilt pushed in them. Into them. I probably have the throttle expo dialed up really high, because I'm having a hard time like bouncing up and down elevation wise. In theory, that's why.
Does yours have no Does your build like Jamie's have Jello at no throttle dive?
No, that's weird. I don't know why. It's interesting that it would do that. I guess that's
Jamie, are you running? Jamie, are you running
hybrid.
props in or props out?
Oh yeah, that's a good call.
Because I wonder if you're running props out, whoops don't dive well with props out. They dive better
Nor
props
do
in.
nor do cinewhoops. Anything with ducts.
Yeah.
You want to run them props in.
All right. Off Axis says HTTPS patreon.com/CiottiFPV, patreon.com/CiottiFPV, patreon.com/CiottiFPV.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah. Let's see. Jamie FPV also says CiottiFPV, did the guys get upset when you bought? Oh, we talked about that already. Tokyo Dom says at CiottiFPV, but once you experience an O3 lens swapped O4, you will not want to fly stock lenses ever again. Crom's tutorial/jig made it stupidly easy too.
Yeah, it's tempting, man. It's so tempting, but like now that we can't get replacement stuff, it's just I don't know if I can do it. And I don't know. I use the O4 lights mainly as like cinewhoops, and they're totally fine for that. But yeah. So it's an O3 lens. I thought people were putting like Caddx ant lenses and walk snail light lenses and stuff like that in there. It's a DJI O3 lens now? I didn't realize that. Oh my god, why? So this rig feels a lot lighter now with a little bit less up tilt. Look at that power though, Jesus hell.
FPV says in regards to the E6000 shirt, quote, just put the tip in and squirt.
Oh god.
Tokyo Dom says at CiottiFPV Air 75 2 frame, Flywoo 1S 5 amp V2, built-in 3 amp Beck, happy model motors, built to 25 grams or so, will get 4 minutes at least. Soldering required. Smiley face.
Wow. Okay. Hold on. Say that setup again.
Air 75 2 frame, Flywoo 1S 5 amp V2.
Oh,
happy
5
model
amp.
motors. Yeah. Happy model motors, built to 25 grams or so. Will get 4 minutes.
Yeah, so super lightweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, to me, that's like a long range build basically. Like that the lack of like that's not gonna have quite the response time. I don't think. I mean, he just said happy model motors though. I wonder which ones. I assume small ones.
I'm running 0802 on my 75 builds. The smaller, my older analog ones, I'm running 0802 25,000 kV on 5 amp boards, and I haven't popped a FET yet.
Yeah, the FETs won't explode, but I did that weird test where they wouldn't give moving it to an X12.
Oh, you ended up with
Woo! Moving it to the X12, yeah, it made more power, which is super weird. Like, I didn't think that's how it worked, but I mean, like, you can't argue with it making more RPM on one than the other. Like,
interesting that it restricts the amperage.
Yeah, maybe there's a safety feature, I guess, so that they don't explode. I think BL Heli or Blue Jay might have something like that. I don't know.
Or maybe they just don't get hot, even though you're trying to push more amps through them, and they can technically go.
Right.
Anyway, Jimmy the Cow says, at CiottiFPV, during this stream, you convinced me to assemble a 75mm airframe, 1102 22,000 kV, and the Matrix HD AIO biblade. Basically,
nice.
your build, but 75. Should be fun.
Very cool. That will be.
I have no context for this, but Off-Axis FPV says, I have one at CiottiFPV. I don't know what we were talking about, and for
yeah, I wonder what he has. Oh god, no. I might need to go get this, because I don't want to fuck up this Swiss cheese plant. We're good. There's no lights on up here.
We need like a jaunty AI song for every time you have to take a walk. Let's see. me get tagged.
So that was the Treetopper build. We're gonna do 2 more batteries with the Treetopper build. Hopefully you guys can see how much lighter it is. I feel like I might be crashing a little bit less, but it's hard to tell. Very hard to tell.
It's Renner Inmit says at CiottiFPV, the Flywoo, I think he's talking about is their newer one. It's a dedicated lens mod. Comes on their Naked O4 if you want.
Yeah, that new basically Flywoo is selling an entire camera. But the housing is gigantic, so I'm assuming it's going to be like really heavy.
We interrupt this podcast to if you're listening on headphones right now and not paying attention, you should check out Teddy.
He's here. He has arrived. Oh, he's getting fresh. Teddy, this is big motor build. You don't want to tangle with this one, my little friend. Oh God! Oh, I got lucky on that one.
Chris Croft 77 says at CiottiFPV Flywoo have their new version of the adapter that replaces the lens. I think that's the same thing that we just talked about. Yamasor says at CiottiFPV, I think he's talking about the new lens for the O4. Yeah, we talked about that. Whoop Fox says at CiottiFPV, damn, you just sent my order out too. I think that's in response to the lanyards discussion.
Ah, yeah. Next one.
It's Renner Init says at CiottiFPV, Beta FPV quote Pro quote is always plus 5mm lol. So 65 Pro is 70 and 75 Pro is 80. Yeah, I noticed that when they first started doing these pros. I don't understand why they didn't just call them the 60 or the 70 and the 80. Like,
it would make it so much easier. They wouldn't have to use the word pro.
I think there is one of the 65 Pro frames that only takes like a cross style AIO that is actually 65 motor to motor.
Oh my God. We're all gonna die. Say that last part again, Kevin.
I think
was busy almost dying.
I think there is one frame, if I'm remembering correctly. There's one frame that is 65 mil motor to motor and still runs 35mm props.
I thought that's what the 65 Pro was.
I think requires a cross AIO, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, so that's both of these Pro frames. That's one of the big problems with both the 65 Pro and the 75 Pro frame, is that you have to run a cut down AIO because they've moved the ducts in to where, so you run a 2G4, for example.
Yeah, actually, like full on cut down, not just like the indentations that you get on the 2G4.
Right. You know what you can run though is the Mobula 7 2024 AIO. What's that? Crazy something or other? Whatever. The AIO that comes on the Mobula 6 2024, it is cut down enough. And I know that because one of my Meteor 65 Pro builds is on that.
That's the Super X, isn't it?
That's it, Super X. Not Crazy B, Super X.
Jimmy Flies FPV says at Ciotti, the 65mm O4 is too heavy for hard freestyle, and I generally keep my builds really clean, running and props in.
Right now, for anyone wondering why I'm flying so weird right now, this rig, look at how much elevation this thing gains from yaw. With these bigger builds inside the house, I have noticed this. When you yaw, they really... I think what's going on is they lack... I was just thinking about this for a second. So this is the 802 build. I think what we're seeing here is that since these 802 motors are a little small for this big, heavy, draggy 1.6-inch prop, when you yaw, it runs out of motor braking, and it makes up for it by making more thrust. Yeah, look at that. Look at the elevation that it gains. I'm not increasing the throttle. And then I guess the the 1002 motors, since they're a little more grunty and they're a little heavier, I guess maybe they spin down a little bit quicker. Because there's moments with this rig, and I'm realizing now it's moments that I'm yawing. There's moments where like it feels like it's wanting to run away, and that's from that yaw. The 7-inch rig is doing that as well. Oh well, that didn't help things. The battery was trying to escape. So when I was yawing, it was having to rotate all this weight from the battery not being centered in the tray. So that would explain it. That is what I don't like about these batteries that have the wires rather than the batteries with the caps on them, is that they move in the battery bay. You can wrap electric tape around the battery. You can use E6000 in the battery tray to fix that. But yeah, there you go. That would explain it. It was acting really funny. Now I know why.
We're all caught up on chat.
Awesome. Thank you, dude.
So I did get my Express LRS backpack working, and it is effing magic.
Nice. So it's mainly just to change. Realistically, it's to change the channel.
Yeah, when
so
you're flying
you have
with
to change
dudes.
the channel in one spot, right?
When you're flying with other folks, and you're like,
That's it.
You're like, you know, I usually run R2 when I'm flying with people, and inevitably somebody else is running R2, and then it's like, okay, well, what other channel is available?
Yeah.
So it actually happened to me 2 weeks ago, and I was like, okay, I need to actually sit down and take some time to do this. But yeah,
right. How long did it take you to do it?
Honestly, because the radio is brand new, I had to flash the internal module on it to get my binding phrase on it. And then I flashed my goggles to get my binding phrase on them rather than going through the bind button.
Right.
And then that was it. It just worked.
Cool. So that's not too bad.
No.
We're going back to the 1002 rig, by the way. Say again, Kevin?
You can go to the button. You can do the button bind if you want, but...
Oh, right. Plug and unplug 3 times.
Or that.
Wait, no. Yeah. Right.
These things all do the same thing now.
Oh, fucking A. It is in the fireplace. All the way in there.
And here comes Teddy.
Eduardo has confirmed. Fireplace confirmed. Back up, dog. Back up, you beast. Oh, he's ready. He's gonna freak out. I can feel it. Here we go. Classic Teddy moment. Here we go. Come on. Come on, dog. We need more energy. More passion. Yes. Here we go. Hold on, I gotta get it on the carpet. Oh, yeah. Get pumped up, dog. Come on. I'll fly it right at him. Whoa! Fly it at him again. Oh, he don't like it now. Come on, dog. I want that old reaction you used to give to it, you little jerk. Hey, he got a little... Oh, God. He got a little... It's going to my hair. He got a little upset. I miss the old reactions we used to get from him. He's too used to it now. Maybe we just need to start flying more reckless shit in here. Start flying the 7-inch build in here. This, wow, this feels way different. Holy shit. The hover point is way higher. Oh my god, what is happening right now? This is way so this is the 1002 rig, Gep RC 1002 25,000s versus what we were just flying is 802 33,000s. So this is heavier and lower KV, and boy, can I tell. This is the first time I've been able to tell such a drastic difference between these two. This is like smoother, mainly because it's heavier. This is so much harder to fly inside though. Because of the extra weight. It's and there it's kind of running. I bet you the battery has shifted forward. Hold on. It feels like it's doing that weird thing. My God, what's happening? Can't even land it on the desk. Hold on, let's see. Is the battery... No, the battery's fine. No, it's not. The battery slid out the back. Yeah, no. If you want an indoor-outdoor 1.6-inch build, the Treetoppers are absolutely the way to go. But I do like these GEP-RC 1002s outside, for sure. It just threw a propeller. Oh, nope, it didn't throw a propeller. There's I bet you the battery lead is up in the prop. Hold on. Teddy, pick it up and bring it back to me. Can you do something good? Yep, sure enough. So here's the other problem with these batteries that have the lead, is that it'll go up and get into the propellers, and then you can't take off.
I have batteries with leads, and I have batteries that are hard cap. I actually have to run a different length on my pigtails if between them.
That would help.
Yep.
That would help for sure.
Run shorter. You can obviously run shorter pigtails on the ones with leads, and that helps a lot. That actually also helps a little bit with vibrations too, because those long tails like to wiggle.
Yep. You know what's interesting about these two builds too? In here, inside the house, this 1002 setup feels like it has much worse response time. And the battery has shifted again. I can feel it. This feels like it has less response time. Oh yeah, the battery is full on hanging out at this point. Because indoors, you're ripping the throttle up and down a lot and really quickly. And that's not what the bigger, heavier motor is going to do. I did not notice that flying these outside, though, which makes sense, because outside you're not, like, whopping the throttle up and down as much. So, yeah, this is so much... I'm shocked at how much harder this is to fly in tight spaces like that. I just hit not one, but two cymbal bells.
Blauda says, which quad is this? Does it take the adapter to plug into USB?
No. This is a... here we go again. Damn it. This is basically just a Mobula 7 1S. And so regular old USB port, no weird little dongle adapter needed. I have flown this enough. This is not the way to fly inside the house with a 1.6-inch prop build. These GEP-RC 1002 25,000s are outside motors, hands down, which makes sense. They're heavier, they're bigger, they're going to stay cooler when you're hammering the throttle. When you're flying outside, you're going to be flying with like this much forward tilt, because outside is big. Flying inside the house, you're going to be here. So when you're flying here, you're using a lot of throttle. The big-ass motor is going to stay nice and cool. If you're flying in a smaller space, the 802s are going to really rock. That is a shocking difference between those two. They do not feel that different flying outside. But man, that's night and day. These are not for flying inside for me. So I may very well pull the 802 rig apart with the Treetoppers. As much as I hate to do that, because they're great motors, it just kind of makes more sense. I've flown 4 batteries on this Fat Shark goggle battery. It was fully charged. Now it's less than 50% or less charged. That's crazy. That is absolutely ridiculous. Why do I not throw this away? Why am I plugging it into USB right now?
Your boy real
It's like
tired.
a sickness.
Your boy is real tired. Jimmy the Cow says, at CiottiFPV, the line is, quote, more intensity, quote, from Lost in Translation.
More intensity, more intense. What did I say?
I don't
Certainly didn't say more intensity. Any closing thoughts, Kevin? Or are we not caught up?
We're not quite. A few more,
cool.
more rolled in. CKAD Ryan says, at CiottiFPV, do you have the HD0 goggles too? And would you use them for your stream?
I do not. I have the old school HD0 goggles. I would not use them for the stream because they're not nearly as comfortable as the HD0 goggles, and I don't output from the goggles to the stream. I have a separate little receiver that hangs from the ceiling, that's in like the perfect spot to get good coverage for the entire house. And yeah, just like having cables hooked up to these, and it's just super annoying. I would love to be able to get my hands on a set of the HD0 goggles too, so that I didn't have to have this hanging out the side, but boy, are they expensive. And these are almost as good. And so, and I have the coolest fucking vinyl wrap sticker from 533 on these guys. And so I'll probably just stick with these. But if someone at some point says, yo, I've got the HD0 V2s, but I really want the V1s, I'll trade you. I will almost certainly trade them. Because I'm assuming that they're the same frame. And so I'm assuming that I could get another one of those 533 stickers and then go to the place and have them install it again. Which... I
just upgraded from my V1s to my V2s back in September, to the V2s back in September, and they are literally exactly the same shell.
That makes sense. Yeah, it would be crazy for them to change the shell.
Super 62 FPV says at CiottiFPV, haven't flown in 5 months, snowing out, so I charged whoop bats. Hummingbird race wasn't the best choice to fly 5 bats on, but we got it done.
Hummingbird race is a lot. CMYK's had the Hummingbird race, but he hadn't flown it. And he just flew it for the first time a few days ago. He texted me like, holy shit, dude, I've had this whole time and I haven't flied it. What is wrong with me? I was like, yeah, dude, it's gnarly, right? It's quite the thing. It's a little tough for freestyle because it's just like overpowered. But man, if you put a bunch of batteries in and kind of get used to it, it is something else entirely. Really, really, really fun thing. Kind of can't believe that exists. And I can't believe that you can just buy it. That's the really gnarly part. That is like a hardcore race build that you can just give someone money for and they will mail to you. Wild. Wild stuff. I'm going to fly these two tomorrow outside and make up my mind. One of them has to get pulled apart. I do not need two 1S 1.6 inch prop rigs when normally what I want to fly is 2S outside. So one of these is going to get torn down. Not sure which, but I'll figure it out tomorrow. And then whichever one gets torn down, the AIO is going to get put into the sub 250 FPV Baby Turtle Pro, or Baby Turtle. Sub 250 is actually making a camera. I looked all over the place for analog camera mounts for this, and there are none. There's only O4 light camera mounts for this. And so I messaged him on Instagram. I said, hey, where are the analog camera mounts for this? And the response was, which camera do you want to run? And I was like, Caddx Ant or CO3. And then the next response was, what up tilt do you fly? And at that point I was like, oh, he's just making the camera mount now then. So it looks like there will be analog camera mounts available for the Baby Turtles, which is super cool because I have high hopes for this. You take an X12, you drop it in here. I don't know if the battery plugs are going to clear. It looks like they might. It kind of looks like they might not, but you know, we'll find out together. I don't know if the X12, I don't know if I can just remove, I don't know if there's motor pads underneath the plugs on the X12, but I'll find out, because just dropping an X12 into this and throwing an analog camera at it, that's pretty cool, right? Like one level build, short standoff, super simple, 2-inch props. This could be kind of fun. We'll see. We'll see.
A couple more showing up. Let's see. It's Renner in it. I usually wrap a tiny piece of wire loom tape inside the bat holder. I've done that too, actually.
Yep, that totally works. Or you can wrap them around the batteries, either or. Yeah. Or you can use E6000. My favorite thing is you put a little bit of E6000 in the corners. The problem is every single different battery is slightly differently sized. So this right here, I do this for two reasons. It grips the battery a little bit better, but it also, this is the part of the Meteor75 O4 frame that breaks. The ends, either end of this support and this support. And so the E6000 makes it a little bit stronger, but it also grabs the batteries better. These Tiny Whoop batteries are smaller, a little bit smaller than the Lavas and the Weebleeds. And so, like, if I was only going to run these batteries, I would put more of a bead of E6000 in here, but I don't. I run a bunch of different batteries, and so it's kind of tough. But yeah, if there's one specific kind of battery that you run, doing that will absolutely work, and it'll work really well.
It's runners, and it says at CiottiFPV, just remember, with great power comes really great times. There
it is. And on that note, we shall wrap this live stream up. Any last minute thoughts, Kevin?
Everybody that is running analog and HD0 should go do the backpack thing so that they can harness the FPV magics and be a wizard like me.
There you go. Awesome. Thanks, Kevin, for helping out. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, you're welcome, bud.
CiottiFPV.com to support me if you like this stuff. I rely on you. Help me out. 10 cents a day will get you onto the Patreon. You'll get early access to stuff. Like right now, you can watch the edit that I did today and yesterday. It's the only way I can keep doing this. Support your boys. Support people that make cool shit. Otherwise, they won't be able to make cool shit anymore. If you love something, support the hell out of it. Here's some more Meteor75 Pro O4 flying. Here's the last battery that the last battery I kept landing on. Here's the battery that I actually flew all the way through. This was on the Tri-Blades. Be good, friends. I'll see you on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Oh my God, come on. Can't you just... There it is. Later, friends.
No, but yeah, that was a good productive stream.
Yeah. Out in the yard where the grass grows wild, CiottiFPV's goggles locked, grinning like a child. Teddy Spaghetti's fur flies and jet wash dreams. Yeah. Chasing small whoops like a dog possessed fiend. Eyes on a neon blur, hard in the chase. Bit fuzz and prop spin all tangled in place. Yeah. Four-legged rebel with a rotor stir tail in the circus of the sky. They never fail. CiottiFPV, Teddy Spaghetti, Danny McDougal, Kings barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sighties on sticks, Teddy's on paws. Side by side, legends breaking all the laws. Through the kitchen, over couch scale terrain. Backyard mayhem in their flight domain. No ground too sacred, no loop too tight. Fuzz, fuel, fury ignites the night. When pilot and pup lock eyes on the prize, every whoop they conquer is a fresh cut surprise. Yeah. Yo, Ciotty behind the sticks, Teddy's leading the pack. Prop guard missiles unleashed, never looking back. No leash, no map, just freestyle mic. They on the dog drone streets every day and night. Said whoops, hitting low, gotta nail the dive, Teddy. Push throttle up, feel the beast come alive. I see the neon arc, got the sticks locked in, Teddy. Yeah, let's rip this loop, ride the roar of the wind, Teddy. Yep. Yeah, CiottiFPV, Teddy Spaghetti, Diamond and Duo Kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. road to hum. You know, Ciotti and Teddy's mission's just begun. FPV.